Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. The footage from this day is actually Saturday, which was the day after our ice and little snow dusting. Everything, of course, had mostly melted except some of the ice. And my husband and dad were working on some fencing along our property line. I got a whole lot done this day. Here I got some chicken stock in the pressure canner because I was depleting that with all the soup we had been eating. And I decided to go ahead and get the kitchen cleaned up before I got some other projects done. So here I am doing Charlie's dishes. It always feels good to reset the kitchen before you start to make another mess. Then it was time to give the island a good scrub. We had made pizza the night before, and that was the night that I was completely exhausted and had nothing left in me to clean the kitchen and put everything away. When the island gets really bad, the only thing I can use to clean it really well is a hot soapy sponge, and I use the scrubby side. And so this was just my dish sponge. I wasn't about to use, like anything harsh or anything that I use to clean toilets or anything like that. This is my dish sponge. And yes, my son Owen is in and out of the kitchen having fun with the camera. Once I've used the wet soapy sponge to scrub all of the grease and food and crumbs and everything off the island, I just grab a clean rag and dry the counter, and then it's nice and shiny. Now I needed to transfer some milk. We have had major issues with running out of our half-gallon milk jars lately. Just getting back in the routine of delivering to our customers and making sure that they have clean ones ready for us to pick up when we drop off their next batch of milk. And that's been a little bit of a problem lately, and so we've been running out. Also, Walmart is where we typically buy more, and they have been sold out as well. So first I decided, while I was thinking about it, to go ahead and take my vitamins and supplements. I take a liquid women's multivitamin, and I also take something called BrocElite, which contains sulforaphane, which is the main cancer-fighting ingredient in broccoli sprouts. And I also take a beef liver supplement from Primal Queen. I'm not an affiliate. I don't have any discount codes or anything like that, but I will link them below in the description if you are interested in any of them. I really, really like all three of these supplements, even though I have to plug my nose to swallow the BrocElite and the beef liver supplement, but they're really, really good for your body. Sulforaphane is an excellent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. It is a cancer fighter. It's good for cardiovascular health. It's also great for your brain cells and the damage caused by oxidative stress. It aids your body in detoxification and also prevents the growth of cancer cells. Beef liver has all sorts of positive benefits for women in particular. It contains vitamin A and B vitamins and zinc, which all support immune health. Because it is high in B vitamins and iron, it helps boost your energy and fight fatigue. It's good for your skin and supports metabolic health, which helps us to break down and use the carbs, fat, and protein in our diet. There's so many benefits. You could find a list of 20 great things from eating beef liver or consuming beef liver supplements, because let's face it, who wants to eat beef liver? Ugh. Anyway, I highly recommend you look up the benefits and consider adding it to your diet. Now I'm transferring milk from one of our stainless steel pails into some clean jars. I've got to label them with the date and stick them in the fridge for our next delivery. Now I am moving on to one of the trouble spots in the kitchen. This is one of the bottom drawers in our island. We open this drawer probably 5 to 7 times a day. The primary purpose of this drawer is storing lids and rings for our mason jars, which we use for all sorts of things, for food storage, for milk, even just storing leftovers in the fridge. Unfortunately, it also just becomes a catch-all for other little kitchen items that don't necessarily have a home. We store our funnels in here for when we filter our milk or when we're pouring things into mason jars. I've also got some of these Ziploc bag stand-up holders, so when I'm pouring things into Ziploc bags or I'm packing Ziploc bags with freezer meals, I will often set a few of these up, but I rarely use more than maybe 2 or 3 at a time. So I think I'm going to give away some of my extras and just hang on to maybe 3 or 4. I believe I have at least 8. I also keep a little handheld food chopper in here, as well as a mandolin. It's a pretty low profile mandolin. It doesn't have a box attached to it or anything. It's just one piece, and you kind of hold on to it while you're slicing your vegetables. This is a piece from a food processor that I no longer own. It broke, so I threw it away. So I can throw that away now. There's some citric acid in here that belongs in the pantry, and a boatload of lids to cups, like Tervis cups, stainless steel cups, water bottles, thermoses, gaskets that go with them. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with all these lids. Now it is time to get picky with these lids and rings. We have a ton of lids and rings because we do a lot of canning. Anytime you buy a case of mason jars, they come with 12 new lids and 12 new rings. So we try to do a pretty good job of trashing any lids or rings that have a good bit of rust on them. Anytime they come back out of the dishwasher, or they come back from a milk client's house and we notice that they're deteriorating or they're getting extra rusty, we go ahead and throw those away. I also have a ribbon on the door in the back of our pantry that has hundreds of extra rings in both regular and wide mouth. So I'm not ever lacking lids and rings. I really need to give 2 of these Norpro bread pans away. I don't ever use more than 2 at a time. Actually, now that I say that, I think I will save 2 of them for my soon-to-be daughter-in-law. I will give them to her as they start to set up their own house and her kitchen. She loves to bake, and she is super interested in learning some of my favorite recipes. But I use my 2 bread pans for storing these lids and rings. I'm doing wide mouth in one and regular in the other, and I'm hoping that if I can get this drawer nice and organized, that my kids, as they take turns on dish duty, will help to keep it up. I'm going to spray out the drawer and get it nice and clean, and then put back only the essentials so that this drawer just makes more sense, and we hopefully are less likely to get it as crazy cluttered and disorganized as it was when I first started. I also found a really small bin in the pantry that had some lids from cups and water bottles and stuff in it, and I think it just wasn't effective having it in the pantry. Who wants to go all the way to the pantry to find a lid for a cup? So I decided to go ahead and bring that bin and put it in this drawer. I probably need to go through it and throw out some of the lids that we don't even have the cups or water bottles that they match with anymore. But for now, I'm just going to leave this in here. That way there is a place to put lids as they come out of the dishwasher. Next, we are doing the bread drawer. I don't know why we always have just called this the bread drawer. It had all kinds of stuff in it that didn't belong. There were random packages of ramen noodles. There were slivered almonds, a bag of dried garbanzo beans, chocolate chips, like so many things that didn't belong. Look at it now. Just tortillas and a couple of ingredients. And it's also where we keep our large whisk, our measuring cup, and our cheese grater. Next, we're going to do our tea drawer. My teenage girls really like hot tea, and they got quite a bit of new ones for Christmas. So I am going to go ahead and clean this out. There are a few ingredients left in here from when my sister-in-law was living with us for several months. Those things have expired and been forgotten about, so I'm just going to throw them away. There are other items in here that don't belong, like muffin liners. I have a mason jar in our baking cabinet. I just need to refill that mason jar with those paper muffin liners. These mini waffle makers, we pretty much never use anymore. I really probably just need to bring them to Goodwill. We got a nice big waffle maker like for our family, and whenever we make waffles, that's what we use. So I'll probably get rid of those. And then I pretty much now just go through every single container of tea and I open it and smell it because it all smells so good. There's lots of fruit-based ones. There's herbal tea. Some of them have like vanilla in them. There's green tea, matcha, black tea, Earl Grey, so many. And so I'm just going through and making sure things have lids that fit right, items that are expired, like this old gluten-free flour from Bob's Red Mill. I got rid of that. One of my mother-in-law's sisters sent me some flower seeds in some old supplement bottles, and so I was realizing that those did not belong in the tea drawer as well. This drawer was such a mess, and it had been so long since it had been cleaned out that I really needed the vacuum in addition to spraying it and wiping it out with a rag. So I'm going to clean out this drawer and then rearrange the tea in a way that makes it easy to see what is available as soon as you open the drawer. I find that when something is functional and visually appealing, my entire family is so much more likely to keep it that way. And it's more obvious when things start to unravel and go back to our old habits, back to the mess that it was before. So when you are used to there not being any clutter, things being organized and efficient, then all you have to take is about 60 seconds to get things back to where they were when they start to get a little messy again. I thought about moving the sous vide and hand mixer to a different place, but they ended up fitting just fine. I pulled out a tray of chicken thighs for dinner in a day or two. I think I'm going to make butter chicken and naan and roasted Brussels sprouts. I had book club later this particular evening, and so I thought ahead. My book club host for that night was making potato soup, so I said I would bring some fresh, warm rolls. I went ahead and made my usual large batch and gave my family the option of either going ahead and making potato soup that night and they could have the rolls with that, or they could turn the rolls into sliders. And they voted for sliders, which I thought was a great idea. So I just pinch off about a fistful of dough and I roll it up and tuck the bottom under before I set each dough ball on the pan. I'm going to let these rise a second time in the oven before I bake them. These rolls bake for 18 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees, and when they come out of the oven, I use a cold stick of butter to rub along the top of either the rolls or the loaf of bread, and it just makes the crust a little softer and nice and buttery. For the sliders, my daughter made them, and she used ham, turkey, salami, and Colby Jack cheese. And then she made a drizzle over the top with butter, stone ground mustard, a little Worcestershire sauce, and garlic powder, and they turned out delicious. I look forward to sharing more with you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.